Come one, come all, and welcome to Tea Time with T-Cross.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Tea Time with T-Cross. For those of you listening, go check out my YouTube page because this episode is being recorded on a camera. It's not the greatest video quality, but it's the best I got for now. I'm working on getting a better camera. It's coming. But jump on the train now, because I don't want to hear it when I'm big down the line that, oh, I know Tom forever. Support me now before I get big. So yeah, like I said, I got a camera. But for whatever reason, this fucking camera doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? The video stops at about 18 minutes. I have a 128 gigabyte SD card, which gives me about 8 hours of video on this camera, but it doesn't allow me to record clips of longer than about 18 minutes. So on the video here, if you are watching, there is going to be some black screens that pop up because the audio or the video camera cut out, and then I'm going to get up and then just restart a new video. So there's going to be some black screens there, but I'm going to put the audio that I'm recording onto the laptop into the video. So the audio will all be the same. It's just on the YouTube video, there's going to be some blank spaces where there's no video because this fucking dumbass camera decides to cut out. Damn it, I should have grabbed a beer. I have a Mountain Dew for now, but I'm going to text my sister and see if she can bring me a beer. Or two. Do me a favor and bring me 2 beers, please. All right. So let's get into it. I want to start by talking about this Governor Murphy video that came out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to play the video, or at least, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do this with the YouTube. My sister goes, I can totally do that when I'm done pooping. Governor Murphy restaurant. How long is the video? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a video that came out this week of Governor Murphy at a restaurant eating dinner with his family, and people approached him. That's not. I want the full video. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the uncensored video, but these people walked up to Governor Murphy while he was out at a restaurant and essentially verbally assaulted him while he was with his fucking family. You know, you're a dick, you're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. Partly because he wasn't wearing a mask, but, you know, he's a hypocrite, this and that. Oh, here's the video. It's only 30 seconds.
Such a dick. Oh my God. Hey, how you doing? Oh my God, Murphy. How you doing? Such a dick. You're having fun with your family. In the meantime, you're having all kind of other bullshit going on at your house. Yeah.
A little too drunk?
No, I'm not drunk. As a matter of
Can you
fact.
put your mask on?
You can go fuck yourself. How's that? I don't need a fucking mask on. You know why I don't need a mask? Because there ain't nothing fucking wrong with me.
I like your Trump
You're
focus.
fucking right.
Guess who Trump likes? He likes my dad.
Yeah, no, he doesn't like your
Oh, he
friends.
does. He does.
Get the fuck out of here. Thank you.
Let's go.
Let's go. Come on.
I think you guys should drink
You know
some
what?
water.
Come on. Oh my God.
All right, so that was the video. It was the first time I'd watched it in full. I just heard about it. I mean, he's out to eat with his family, actively eating dinner, and these people were calling him a dick. He's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And his son, who is a senior in high school, says, like, you know, go drink a water, like, you're drunk. He's out to eat with his kids. Now, I understand he's not wearing a mask, but his own rules say if you go to a restaurant, when you sit at the table, you can take your fucking mask off. So, what's the problem? I'm not understanding what the problem is here. He's following his own rule. Now, on the other side, I don't know these women who made the video. I don't know what their background is. You know, they very well could have been a business owner that whose business got shut down because of the lockdown rule. So that's entirely possible. But if you really want to take advantage of your opportunity to say something to Murphy, go wait in the parking lot. If you really want to say something, wait. Don't do it in the middle of a restaurant while he's actively eating dinner with his family. You know what I'm saying? Fuck yeah, I don't know. That's really not cool. But what are you gonna do? It is what it is. And now these other conspiracy theorists are talking about how the flu numbers are way down. And I think I will try to post what the flu stats are right here. Something like, I don't remember exactly what I looked up. You know, when I post the stats, I may sound like an idiot, but I remember reading something like only 8,000 people have tested positive for the flu this year. And, you know, you see, nobody has the flu anymore. They're all marking it all COVID. I just wish critical thinking was a thing. So let's see why the flu numbers are way down. So the flu, as far as I know, you can't pass it to other people when you don't have symptoms. You can only spread it when you're symptomatic. So 90% of the world, I guess maybe that's being too generous. Let's say more like 70% of people are wearing masks. But also, if people don't feel good, they're not going out in public. And if they are, they're more than likely wearing a mask. So you can't transmit the flu unless you have symptoms. More people are going to be staying home if they feel sick because they think it might be COVID. So to me, it makes sense that the flu numbers are way down. It's not that they're marking all flus as COVID. It's that people are wearing masks and they're staying home if they don't feel well, which is what we should have been doing forever. It makes sense to me, and I think that's a good explanation. Masks, staying home if you don't feel good. Got my Bud Light. Hey, Bud Light, sponsor me. I love Bud Light. But I got a good story this week. Good guy of the week. So I went to Target this week to buy the SD card that is being used on the camera. And the line at Target was absurd. Like, it would have taken like 40 minutes. Everybody's got, you know, carts full of shit. I don't know if they're doing it because they're afraid we're going to go into lockdown again, or they're trying to get their Christmas presents, or what. But the line was super long. I had one item. It was an SD card. Guy that works at Target comes up to me and he says, "Hey, are you paying with card?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, come with me." He had this little device that scanned what I was going to buy, and then I could put my card in and pay, you know, with this fucking handheld device thing. And he's like, "Oh, I can only do it if you have less than 5 items and you're paying with a card and this and that." And I was like, thank you so much. So that's a good guy of the week. Other good news, my arm is cleared. Finally, one of my injuries gets good news. Took longer than I expected, about 4 months. So I went to the doctor, got my final x-ray, which I will post one here and one here. My x-rays. Now, I can't see where the camera setup is, so hopefully my hands aren't out of frame here. I'm going to have so much fun editing these videos. But anyway. So I got the x-rays, and he said they look good, you're good to go. And then he says, you know, so what are you doing, or what are you not doing that you'd like to do? And I was like, punching stuff, punching people, punching. So then he goes into this whole long rant about, what the ulna is supposed to look like, and this is supposed to look like, and yours looks like that, and this is good, and that's good. And after a couple of minutes of him talking, I go, so can I punch stuff? And he goes like this. Yes. Like he didn't want to say yes, but he knew that he couldn't tell me no because he just went on a rant about how good my arm looks and how it looks like it's supposed to. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to the gym tonight. And he was like, but you're just getting back to punching stuff, hitting stuff. Just take it easy. Don't go in, swinging for the fences. So I kind of listened. I went to the gym, and instead of partnering up with somebody, I just hit the bag because, a lot of times people will, fucking, really whack the pad back on you. So I wanted to control how hard I was hitting because the bag, doesn't meet me halfway. So I wanted to be in control of how hard I was hitting. And it feels good. The elbow, as far as the extension, because I'm an animal that needs my arm to be able to hyperextend. So, most people can fully extend their arm, but I need it to like hyperextend. So it doesn't feel super good as far as, hyperextending and, the wrist twisting and whatnot. But for normal people, it'd be good to go. As time goes on, over the next 2 weeks or so, I'm going to get fully back into fully hitting stuff. So that's going to be cool. But let's get into my work bullshit from this week. So I normally talk a lot of shit about McDonald's. So I don't know if it's just my phone listens to me talking or follows my own social media constantly talking shit about McDonald's. I haven't really been getting too many requests to go to McDonald's lately. And they haven't really been all that bad the last few times that I've gone. I'm still, it's still not ready when I get there, but I'm not waiting, 9, 10, 11 minutes. I'm waiting like 3 or 4, which is not ideal, but we're making progress, McDonald's, so good on you. But I also deliver frozen bread during the day on Mondays. I used to do the fresh bread overnight. Guy I used to work for, Anthony, called me to do the frozen during the day because his nighttime guys didn't want to do it. And Mondays are usually real slow with Uber, so I was like, fuck it, drop off some boxes of bread and get paid for it in cash, so that's cool. So I go to this, 3 of the stores I deliver to are 3 Bella Italia stores. It's like an Italian sort of deli thing. I don't even know what you would call it. So the first store I go to, the guy says, hey, I've never met you before. I usually don't work Mondays, but they had a big catering order or something. So he came in and he was like, oh, I've never met you before. I don't usually work Mondays. And I was like, I see you every week at the Jackson store. And he looks at me, he goes, we don't have a store in Jackson. And I'm like, yes, you do? He's like, no, we don't. I'm like, well, I'm delivering to a store called Bella Italia, and it's located in Jackson. And he goes, oh, yeah, that store is actually an imposter. They're actually getting sued to take down to change the name of their store. And I was like, oh, shit. But in my mind, I'm thinking this guy's fucking with me because he looks exactly like the fucking guy who works in the Jackson store. So I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't going to argue with him about whether or not he has a fucking store in Jackson. So afterwards, I call my boss. Like after I leave that store, I'm like, you might be losing this store? Like, he's getting sued? He's like, what the fuck? So I'm like, yeah, he said, they don't have a store in Jackson. And I thought he was fucking with me because he looks exactly like the fucking guy. He was like, oh, yeah. So the dad owns one of the stores, and his 2 sons both own their own store. And one of the sons, something happened, but they don't even acknowledge his existence. Like, if you said to the dad, oh, I met your son, Joe Schmo, he'd be like, I don't have a son named Joe Schmo. And if you ask the other brother or the other son, oh, I met your brother, Joe Schmo, he'd be like, I don't have a brother named Joe Schmo. And I was like, holy shit. But then I got to Jackson later that day, and they must be twins because they look fucking identical. But he's like, oh, we don't have a store in Jackson. I'm like, I'm going to be delivering there later, so yes, you do. Oh, excuse me. So my only Uber story from this week, had a pretty decent week with the Uber. So I forget where I delivered from, but I was delivering to this giant building, like an office building. And the only directions were meet at the door. It gave the address to the building, not like one of the stores or companies inside the building. It was just the address of the building, and it said meet at the door. So normally I would just fucking leave it in front of the building and then text them, hey, this is where it is. But I'm really, really towing the line with I talked about it last week, the 85% acceptance rate and the 4% cancellation rate. So I'm like trying to be good for at least a couple weeks where I accept every ride, I do every ride, and I do it properly because it's my only source of income right now. So I really shouldn't be as much of a dick. Oh no, I did have another story. It just popped in my brain, but I'll get to it. So I called the lady and I said, hey, I'm here. Where am I delivering this to? She goes, meet me at the door. And I go, what door? It's a giant building. There's a lot of different entrances. And she goes, I'm coming right out. And then hangs up. I'm like, okay. So I'm just sitting there. A couple minutes goes by and she calls me and she goes, hey, I'm outside. Where are you? I go, I'm right in front of the building. She goes, no, you got to come around the back. And I said, that's why I asked what door you want to meet at, because there's a lot of doors. And she goes, yeah, it's around back. So I drive around the building and drop it off to her. But like, I called you to ask what door, and you just said, I'm coming. Really fucking helpful, you goddamn imbecile. So, I just said how I'm trying to be good and trying to do the job properly. But there are certain things that really frustrate me. So, not receiving tips for delivering the food really frustrates me. Because, as far as I know, almost everybody tips your waitress, right? They bring the food from the kitchen to your table, which is, 50 feet. I'm taking the food from the restaurant to your house, which is several miles. And you don't give me a tip. Most people do. But after you reach a certain level, like I'm at the diamond level, the highest level driver that you can achieve, it now tells you where you're picking up, where you're delivering it to, which when you first start, it doesn't tell you that. You just pick it up and say, hopefully this isn't taking me to Kentucky. But so it tells you how much you're going to get paid. The person who ordered it, they can then go back and change and add a tip or add more of a tip. But that almost never happens. It's almost always like, what is... that's right at 18 minutes, and I heard a beep. Did it go off? We good? Hopefully it was recording that whole time. That would suck if it didn't record the first 18 minutes, and I was talking about the camera. But anyway... So Uber tells me how much I'm going to make, exactly where I'm taking it, and whatnot. So this order was $2.50, which is the base rate. As like it's a relatively short trip, no tip. That's your base rate. If I'm delivering it across the street, I'm getting $2.50 at the very least. So I go to Sonic, pick up food. So Sonic has these like cardboard cup holders, not like the ones that Taco Bell would give you, but they have a handle. So this person ordered 8 drinks, so I had 2 full cardboard things and 5 full brown bags of food. It's a pretty big fucking order from Sonic. So I delivered to their house. And I noticed they had a glass door that opened outwards. So this is something I like to do when I know I'm not going to be getting a tip. I put their drinks right up against the glass door. So they have 2 options. They either open the door and knock over their drinks, or they have to walk out their back door and walk around their house to grab the drinks. My sister said I should leave a note in those people's drinks that say, or in their food on their bag that says, tips are appreciated. Which would be funny, but I don't know if they could make a complaint about that. Yeah, so I just fucking pushed the drinks up against their glass door. So I really hope they decided to knock over their own drinks. But who knows? God, I'm really worried that those first 18 minutes weren't recorded. Oh well, guess we'll see. Another thing that I've noticed, and I won't let it happen, I'm almost positive I've talked about this before. I know I've wanted to, but I don't know if I've actually talked about it. So a lot of stores, when you buy stuff in cash these days, because of the coin crisis or whatever, coin shortage, they're not giving pennies back. So like if you're supposed to get 35 cents back, or 38 cents or whatever, they'll give you 35 and not give you the pennies. And they won't say like, hey, do you want your pennies? We could really use them. In which case I would say, yeah, keep the pennies. But you don't ask, you just give me 35 instead of 38. I'm like, hey, wasn't I supposed to get 38 cents back? Like, I don't let them keep pennies without asking. Just take money. I don't care how much it is. You don't just take money from me without asking. The fuck out of here. A couple pennies a day adds up to a couple dollars a year, a couple dollars a year, a couple years. It eventually adds up to a student loan payment. Fuck that. I'm not letting 7-Eleven take $500 worth of pennies from me over the next 10 years. Fuck that. Nope. No, sir. All right, so let's get into some sports, huh? So, sports. ESPN Plus had the disc golf, you heard that correctly, disc golf championships. And I've played, not real disc golf. The guys that live in my neighborhood created like this disc golf course at the park. If you throw it up through this thing and it goes down the slide, that's the hole. And if you get it in between the chains on the swing, like that's the hole, sort of thing. So I've played before. I've known about it for a while, but I've never actually watched the championships. And the way the announcers were talking was fucking hilarious. They were talking like it was an actual golf match. They were like, oh, beautiful drive. And, they were talking real quietly. He sets himself up for an 8-foot putt. And they're calling it putting and chipping and drive and irons. I wasn't paying super close attention. I kind of just had it on to listen to the commentary. But I don't know if they were using different frisbees for different shots. Like, they get close and now they can pick up their driver and use a putter frisbee. I don't know. I guess I should have paid closer attention before I talk about it. But it was awesome. It was really funny. And then, when they get it into the disc golf thing, into the hole, it the crowd's you doing their quiet applause and whatnot. Hold on. All right, so Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul is cutting these fucking promos. Like, TMZ was talking to him, and he's like, I'm 40 pounds heavier, and if I land one punch, you suck. Logan Paul, you suck at boxing. Your brother is better than you, I'll give him that, but you suck. You couldn't beat another YouTuber by the name of KSI. You punch downwards with your chin up in the air, even when you're hitting the bag. And you're going to beat the greatest boxer of all time? It's... Just come out and say, I want to get paid. Acting like you're going to beat Floyd. Stop. Stop it. And he's like, if it were an MMA fight, I'd dominate. Yeah, you wrestled in high school. And like you said, you're 40 pounds heavier. No shit. You're talking about doing a boxing fight. So don't talk about doing a boxing fight and then already have an excuse built in saying if it was MMA, I'd win. We know that. We know that. Claim you can beat him in boxing. And then it's so frustrating. I'm over the Floyd Mayweather thing. I thought it was cool what he did with Conor. Just because Conor is in his weight, Conor also fights and knocks people out. He wasn't a boxer, but there was an aura of a possibility. You've had 2 boxing fights. You didn't win either of them. And you're a turd. You are a turd. I would love to punch Logan Paul in the face. And I'm going to one of these days. But speaking of boxing, let's talk about Mike Tyson. So as it's getting closer, more rules are coming out now that they're not allowed to knock each other out. I don't know. What does that mean? What a dumb concept in a boxing fight, whether it's an exhibition or a sparring round. You say you're not allowed to knock each other out? I've been in sparring matches. I've been knocked out multiple times in a sparring match. What do you mean you're not allowed? You're telling Mike Tyson he's not allowed to knock somebody out? Good fucking luck. But I guess that means like if they start swinging too hard, the ref has to step in and call the fight. So you're going to make us pay $50 for pay-per-view. And if Mike Tyson punches too hard, you're going to call the fight? You're going to give everybody their fucking money back? Because Mike Tyson is not going to spar. Neither is Roy Jones Jr. They're coming to fight. They've both said it. Both said it. But speaking of that, so I'm not going to call them out, but I have a friend on my Facebook. I've had people say, I love when you call out people on Facebook. So I'm calling him out. I posted this article that was a link to... It was MMA fighting, so they were saying, you know, Rafael Caldero, who's been coaching Mike Tyson during this, he's aiming to knock out Roy Jones Jr. despite the rules. So then my caption on the article was, this fight is going to get called within the first minute because they're going to try and kill each other, which apparently isn't allowed. And then my friend said, you mean Tyson? So I said, what? He goes, you said they. Jones ain't about that life, but Tyson on the other hand. Meaning like Jones isn't a knockout artist. Which I mean, I will concede that Tyson knocks people out more definitively, but saying that Roy Jones Jr. ain't about that life is fucking stupid. Tyson hasn't fought since 2005. Roy Jones Jr.'s last fight was in 2000. I'll get to it. So then I said, Roy Jones has more KO wins. What the fuck are you talking about? Which is true. I mean, Jones has had more boxing fights, but still. He goes, for someone who has a vast knowledge of the fight game, you say silly stuff sometimes. Jones doesn't have the power nor the will anymore. He even said it himself. Yeah, he said he thinks he made a mistake. I think he was fucking joking. So I said, he literally said they're going to fight each other. They're going to try and kill each other. You're acting like Jones is some scrub. His last fight was 2 years ago. Tyson's was 15. Jones has more KOs. You claiming Jones ain't about that is arguably the dumbest thing you've ever said, and that's saying a lot. He goes, you're fucking dumb, and your was Y-O-U-R, by the way. You're fucking dumb. Jones said himself he realized he messed up because Tyson is taking it serious. So no, Jones isn't about it like he used to. Look at some of his last fights. Come on, you're delusional. It's not the dumbest because I don't fuck with you like that, so I'm not around you to make that kind of statement. So I said, you bring my IQ to a new all-time low whenever you comment on my posts. And I said, you said, look at his recent fights. 6 of his last 8 wins are by knockout. He goes, so you basically saying I'm right and you're dumb as fuck. He said Roy Jones ain't about that life. His last 9 fights, he went 8-1 with 6 KOs. How does that mean that you're right? You said he doesn't have the power anymore. He literally, his last fight, he won by KO. 6 of his last 8 wins over the last 4 years of his boxing career were by knockout. And he goes, so basically you're saying I'm right. Am I stupid? Sometimes I interact with people that are so dumb, it makes me question whether or not I'm the dumb one. So I'm like, how can they, huh? I don't know. I really don't know. But Tony Ferguson, let's get into some MMA. Tony Ferguson was announced to fight Charles Oliveira this week, and I am so hyped. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Charles Oliveira wins that fight. I don't know how Tony Ferguson is gonna come back from that Justin Gaethje loss. And I've been high up on Charles Oliveira. Now I know people are down on him because he hasn't fought as high of a competition as Tony Ferguson has, but he's won, was it 7 in a row? Let me check this. 7 in a row. I believe it. I know he's won, like his winning streak are all by finish. Charles Oliveira, Do Bronx. Excuse me. So he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. And before that, he lost to Paul Felder, and then before that, finished Will Brooks. So his last 10 wins, he's won 10 of his last 14, all 10 of those wins by finish. Submitted Nick Lentz, submitted Miles Jury, submitted Will Brooks, submitted Clay Guida, submitted Christos Giagos, don't know who that is, submitted Jim Miller, which is fucking huge, submitted David Tamer, knocked out Nick Lentz, knocked out Jared Gordon, submitted Kevin Lee. And he's still young. He's only 31 years old. I think he's going to beat Tony Ferguson. That's going to be a great fucking fight. I think Charles Oliveira should have been in the conversation for a title more than Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's had 1 fight at lightweight. I'm pretty sure. No, 2. Because I forgot he fought Khabib for a second. He's had 2 fights at lightweight. He's 1-1 in the last 4 years. I think it was just 4 years since he fought Eddie Alvarez, which he coined National Champ Day. So yeah, after Jose Aldo, Nate at 170, Eddie 155, Khabib 155, then back up to welterweight to fight Cerrone. He's 1-1 at lightweight. And I understand one of them, or they were both title fights, and he was the former champ. I don't think he's more warranted. If they make Conor versus Dustin a fucking title fight because they stripped, or they take away from Khabib, which Dana said that's not going to happen, and I hope it doesn't. But if they do that, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Conor does not deserve a title shot. Dustin does. Dustin for sure warrants a shot at the title again. But anyway, Anderson Silva, who had his last fight, apparently, it just beeped again. So I think that means it stopped recording, or maybe the battery died. Yep, the battery died. So while I'm changing the battery here, I'm going to keep talking. Anderson Silva had his last fight, got knocked out, and Dana said, "I wish I didn't give him that fight. I wish I would have forced him to retire before that." So they officially cut him, released him, whatever you want to say. Sorry, putting the camera back up. I can't wait to get a better camera. So the night of the fight, he came out and said, I can actually see my reflection in the TV there. Just off the camera. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So Anderson Silva came out and, the night of said, I don't know if I'm done, blah, blah, blah. He now confirms that he's not done. He wants to keep fighting. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he looked all that bad. He made a technical mistake and got caught. I think he could do well in other organizations against lesser competition had he wanted to keep fighting. But he definitely should not be in the UFC fighting the top guys. I think he would do okay in Bellator. Bellator said they don't want him. ONE FC said they don't want him. And PFL said they don't want him. The only other major organization out there that hasn't said anything, which worries me, is bare knuckle fighting. Bare knuckle fighting doesn't seem to care all that much about the safety of legends. They had, Phil Baroni come back, Chris Lieben come back, even though Chris Lieben has been doing well. Chris Lytle came back, Bigfoot Silva fighting over there. I really think they're going to make Anderson Silva an offer. I don't know if Anderson Silva would do bare knuckle. If he loves fighting, I don't see why not. But I really fucking hope that's not a thing. I really hope they don't do that. But Valentina Shevchenko. Whoa. So let's talk about this fight, this card. Shout out to Alan Joban. Prelim. Got a win. He looked great. Brandon Moreno. I'm going to skip over some fights, get to Brandon Moreno. I thought Brandon Moreno should have gotten the title shot over Alex Perez. I really do. But he didn't. He accepted that, moved on, took a fight against Brandon Royval, who'd won 4 in a row. 2 of them in LFA, but came back in the UFC, beat Tim Elliott, beat Kai Kara France, who is, I believe, he is Izzy Adesanya's teammate. But Brandon Moreno came out and beat Brandon Royval. I mean, it was a TKO to punches, but Royval's shoulder popped out while they were on the ground. After the fight was over, they just fucking popped it right back into place. I forget who his coach was. I think they said Mark Montoya. Just came back in, popped it right back into place, and then he's like, I'm good. Like, had that fight, because it was 4:59 in the first round. 1 second left in the round. If he would have lasted one more second, coach could have popped it in the during the break, and he probably could have kept fighting. But c'est la vie. Brandon Moreno won, and immediately after the fight, they announced Davidson Figueiredo will be fighting Brandon Moreno for the title on December 12th. So, what's that, 3 weeks? 3 weeks after their last fight? And I'm kind of worried because Figueiredo has missed weight before. He's a big flyweight. He's only missed weight once, but he's a big flyweight. So he just made flyweight. Now, in 3 weeks, he's got to make it again. I don't know how big he gets, but I'd imagine he gets over 140 pounds on fight night. Like, he weighs 125. He's probably around 140, if not 142, 143-ish. He's got to get that weight back off. I don't know. I've never heard anything about how much weight Brandon Moreno cuts, but that might play a big factor. Figueiredo might miss weight. And if he does, I don't know how that works in the UFC if a current champion misses weight. I don't know if they've ever done that. I don't know if that's ever happened. It might have, but not to my knowledge. I know it happened in WEC. Chael Sonnen was fighting... Oh, fuck. This is going to drive me crazy. What the fuck is that guy's name? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Once I see it, I'm going to know. But Chael Sonnen was fighting for the WEC title, and they'd never had that happen before. Dude missed weight. So now it becomes a non-title fight. Paulo Filo becomes a non-title fight. Chael wins the fight, does not win the title because it's a non-title fight. So I don't know if I know people fighting for like an interim title or a vacant title have missed weight before, and then in that instance, if they win the fight, they don't get the belt. Like Davidson Figueiredo, when he missed weight, that was for the vacant title. He won the fight, didn't get the belt. So I don't know what happens if a current champion misses weight, how that works. Also, Antonina Shevchenko, Valentina's sister, fought earlier in the night. TKO against Ariane Lipsky, looked excellent. Her grappling improved big time. I actually made some money betting on the fights. For the first time ever. Antonina Shevchenko, I bet money on you. Thank you. And then I also bet money on Caitlin Chukagian, which I'll get to later. But so Joaquin Buckley, that dude who did that fucking spinning back kick knockout. I'll see if I can pull that video somewhere and put it right here. Whoa, look at that knockout. It was crazy. So he got another quick knockout. Apparently he works at like Walgreens or something as well. So he got now 2 fights over the last, month or so, and 2 big bonuses for fight of the night or finish of the night or performance or whatever the fuck they call it these days. So he's made over $100,000 in the last month and a half. And he's like, I'm not ready to quit working at Walgreens. I'm like, I mean, you're a pretty big fucking star right now. I mean, I guess I respect the hustle. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, it's clearly working. Is he undefeated? No, he's had a couple losses. Oh no, I forgot that Kevin Holland beat him before he had that crazy knockout. But yeah, so Joaquin Buckley is beefing with James Krause. And it's weird, because James Krause, I think because he fought recently, they asked him about the knockout afterwards, and he was like, fuck, that guy is a dork. For whatever reason, I don't know what it came from. He said, like, he's a douchebag on social media, or he tried to come into my gym and, like, hurt younger... I don't forget exactly what he said, but he's like, fuck that guy. So now, Joaquin Buckley is like, I want to fight James Krause. But James Krause is now saying, I've asked the UFC twice for Joaquin Buckley. They sent him a contract twice, and he didn't sign it twice. So apparently he wants to fight one of Krause's teammates, and he's like, no, you don't fight my teammate. You fight me, or you fuck off. I mean, James Krause is small. I think he might have fought at 55 at one point. And Buckley fights at 85, and he is shredded. I know Krause has fought at 85 before, but I think he's, for the most part, welterweight. But I'm almost positive he fought at lightweight. Yeah, he fought at lightweight at one point. He fought Bobby Green, Jamie Varner, Jorge Masvidal before he moved up, Darren Cruikshank. So yeah, a lot of his career has been at 155. But that's a fight I'm interested in. I like beef. I like guys that talk shit. I'm fucking in. And then, speaking of legends, another Shogun Rua fought against Paul Craig. And this is a rematch because they fought once before and it went to a draw. But again, Dana said that he thinks Shogun should retire. And a lot of people are like, he should have retired 5 years ago. I disagree. I don't think he looked all that bad. He did get a TKO to punches, but I mean, afterwards he posted a picture of his fucking elbow. Whoa. He hurt his elbow in the fight. He was hurt. So, I mean, his last 5 years haven't been bad. And he's fought pretty decent competition. So, I mean, he's got some skids. I mean, with the way that guy fights, that's going to fucking happen. But, like, his last number of fights, lost to Paul Craig, beat Lil Nog, draw to Paul Craig, beat Tyson Pedro, TKO, lost to Anthony Smith, fought for the fucking title, beat John Vellante, beat Corey Anderson, beat Lil Nog. I mean, that's his last 5 years in the sport. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought he won the first Paul Craig fight. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but let's say he won. He's 6-2 in his last 8 fights. I don't see retirement there. I mean, yeah, it's hard to watch that guy lose fights because of all the wars that he's been in. You know, back in the Pride days. I mean, he made his pro debut in 2002. So he's been fighting 18 years. It's hard to see somebody fight 18 years and not want them to retire. Because I mean, he's got a bunch of losses. How many losses? So this is his 12th loss. So how many? Does it say how many KOs losses he has? He's got 6 KO losses over an 18-year career. That's not awful. I don't think he's been like. I don't think he's really gone out all those times. He just gets beaten to a pulp, which might be worse. Who the fuck knows? But I don't know. I don't see retirement from him. Similar to Anderson Silva, where he could compete, just not against top guys. I mean, I don't know what if Paul Craig is ranked, but he is a lot bigger. I think Shogun's problem is that he never wanted to cut weight. I mean, fighting at 205, he jiggles. He's got a belly. He could absolutely make 185. Absolutely. Just chooses not to. I mean, he's got wins over some of the baddest motherfuckers of all time. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being nostalgic that I want these old guys to keep fighting. Maybe I'm an asshole, but I think there's a place in the sport for them. But I'm also yelling for BJ Penn to retire. I don't fucking know. Leave me alone. Shut up. And then Caitlin Chukagian won me some money. She was a underdog taking the fight on short notice. She looked really good. She looked clean, crisp, used her range. She looked fantastic. Watching, oh my God, what the fuck, Mark Henry. Oh my God. Watching Mark Henry do corner work is mesmerizing. He's so good. So good. They got all these combos that change every fight and these clues. Every fighter is different. And so he could corner 2 fighters at the same time and they would have no fucking clue what they're talking about. That's how, like, intricate his system is. I mean, it fucking works, but good on him. And thank you to Caitlin Chukagian. I'll tell you what, though. I like Caitlin as a fighter. I think I met her once. She seems like a nice person. Her constant yelling with every strike drives me fucking crazy. Especially because a lot of them miss, but it looks like they land because she's yelling. Do what you got to do to get up on the scorecards, but god damn. Let me charge this other battery because I don't want the battery I'm using now to die. Is there an outlet in here for me to plug this in? No, there is not. All right. We'll fucking wing it, whatever. And then Mike Perry. I'm over it. I'm over the Mike Perry thing. He's fun to watch fight, but he's just a jerk-off. I mean, he was posting pictures and sending pictures to Tim Means of fight week, him eating cheeseburgers and onion rings. And then the day before, like the week, he's like, I'm going to save the weight cut to the day before. I'm just going to cut all the weight the day before. Missed weight by 4.5 pounds, weighed in 175.5, and then dabbed on the scale. Did that as he misses weight. What a fucking jerk off. What a piece of shit. And then Valentina Shevchenko was like a minus 2,000 favorite. Some dude placed like a $12,000 bet to win $600. And Jennifer Maya, I forget what round it was. I think it was the second. Got Shevchenko up against the fence and took her down and held her down. And I bet you that guy that placed that $12,000 bet was like, oh boy. Oh boy. I was like, oh man, we got ourselves a fucking fight here. And then Shevchenko went on to dominate the rest of the fight. But I was like on the edge of my seat. It was the first time I've been on the edge of my seat in a Shevchenko fight in a while. Because she normally just fucking, I mean, since she moved down to 125, she dominates motherfuckers. Dominates. So, I don't know who's next for her. Lauren Murphy is chiming for a title shot. I think she definitely deserves it at 125. But she'd just be another lamb being fed to slaughter. I think the only fight for Shevchenko that's really interesting, that could really give her a challenge, is if Weili Zhang moves up and fights her at 125, or Shevchenko moves up and has a trilogy with Amanda Nunes, or if Amanda can move down, become triple champ. That would cement her as the GOAT. I don't know if she can make 125, though. But that's all I got for Shevchenko. And then Davidson Figueiredo submitted Alex Perez rather quickly. And what are you going to do? Alex Perez is a young kid, 28 years old, came off the Contender Series. Davidson Figueiredo's he'll be 33. So he's still relatively young. But that's a fun weight class. I like that weight class. I'm glad that I'm glad they didn't get rid of it. I think it's super fun. Then we move to this weekend's fight, and I'm going to talk about them later because I got a question about it. But relatively small card. Curtis Blades is fighting Derek Lewis. Anthony Smith coming off a 2-fight skid. I don't know much about this Devin Clark kid. He's won 2 in a row against 2 guys I'd never heard of. He lost to Ryan Spann, lost to Alexander Rakic, lost to Jan Blachowicz. Seems like he loses to all the guys with name recognition, and all the guys he's beat are all people that I've never heard of. But Anthony Smith is real hit or miss, man. I mean, he started his career like 5-6, and then just went on a crazy run. And he's also super young. I don't know. And he's a favorite, so I don't know if I would bet money on Anthony Smith if he's a favorite. I mean, look at the guys he's fought lately. Rakic, Glover Teixeira, Gustafsson, Jones. I'd like to see him make a comeback. He did say that he took less jobs as like an I almost said analyst. An analyst. But the homie Bill Algeo is fighting. I want to say it's short notice. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember him being announced on this card till recently. But he from Philly, relatively local guy, super cool dude. I put money on him. The line is lowering though, because when I put money on him, he was like plus 255, something like that, and he's like plus 140 today. So people are betting on him. So that line is closing. Beeped again. I'm glad I can hear the beeps because I thought that the beep is quiet. I thought I wasn't going to be able to hear it, and then I would just have a lot of non-video. But he's fighting Spike Carlisle. So Bill Algeo fought on the Contender Series, and then shortly after took a short notice fight against Ricardo Lamas. I have a bias because I know the guy. I thought he won the fight. It was close though. So I hope he's not on the chopping block. If he were to not win the fight, I hope they don't cut him because he's exciting, cool dude, handsome as all hell. But that's that. And I also want to talk about what card is it? Not that. Is it that card? No. It's the December 12th card. So UFC 256. No, maybe not. So the one after, the December 19th? Yeah, the December 19th card. I got a fucking problem with it. Big problem. So they have... No, I'm good. You brought me two. No, good, thank you. Mama's trying to bring me another beer. Appreciate it. So the main card, Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev. I think Leon Edwards is going to win the fight. I hope he wins the fight. It's an excellent card from top to bottom. It could almost I think this card's better than the pay-per-view that just happened. But they have Greg Hardy versus Marcin Tybura. I'm awful at pronouncing these fucking names. Fighting the third card from the top. They have Jose Aldo versus Chito Marlon Vera opening the main card. I mean, you've got to be fucking shitting me. Top 5 ranked bantamweights are jerking the curtain while Greg fucking Hardy is the third fight from the top. Jose Aldo versus should never be less than a main event. Ever. The blatant disrespect of Jose Aldo, I am not okay with it. Absolutely not okay. So fuck that. All right, let's get into the questions. It seems like you guys are not as interested in the questions as you once were. I think I only got 2. I post so much on Facebook. So I'm recording this on Thanksgiving during the day before we eat. I was going to record Wednesday night. But scrolling through my timeline to find the post about the questions from a couple days ago. I didn't post it that long ago. I must have scrolled past it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh no, I only got one. Only got the voice question. From Juicy Baby. The usual. Let me respond to Karen. Alright, so Juice, he likes the voice recording stuff. When he watches when he listens to my podcast, he'll pause it and then send me a voice message to respond to what I said on the podcast. It's awesome. He's the best. Go check out his podcast. He used to be Fighting with Myself. It was a great MMA podcast, but he stopped doing it. But all the episodes are still up, so go check it out. But he's doing another podcast now about Broadway shows called Breaking the Fourth Wall, I believe it's called. Check it out. He's the man. So let's listen to his recording.
What's up, T-Cross? This is Juice. Derek Lewis is fighting this weekend. Now, a lot of people hate on Derek Lewis, saying he's not a top heavyweight because he likes to brawl. And sometimes he gets taken down. And he's fighting Curtis Blades, a man who just wants to take you down. Now, the optimist in me wants to say that he's going to knock Curtis Blades the fuck out. Because Derek Lewis can knock anybody out. But it seems kind of unlikely. What are your thoughts on this?
Fucking A.
Now, the optimist in me wants to say that he's going to knock Curtis Blades the fuck out.
Sorry, gotta listen twice.
Because Derek Lewis can knock anybody out. But it seems kind of unlikely. What are your thoughts on this matchup? And also, what is the funniest thing Derek Lewis has said, just in anything, whether it's interviews, post-fight, and not the balls was hot thing, although that was pretty damn funny. It's so cliche. The best thing, or one of my favorite things he's ever said, was his video he did. I think the company that put together was called Champions. You got to find this video on YouTube. Look up Derek Lewis House Tour. And he's fucking... They're trying to make him more appeal to like a different audience. Like it's so funny, like trying to make him seem sophisticated. He's like got glasses on, a suit and tie, and they do like a fake cribs thing in this house. And he opens up the fridge. He's like, "Let me show y'all what I drink." And then he opens up the fridge. All there is just one bottle of kombucha, and he picks up the bottle of kombucha and he's like, "Kombucha. I guess this is what I drink." Anyways, let me know. Derek Lewis is the GOAT!
All right, that was quite the long one there. So I'm with you that I like Derek Lewis, and I'd like to see him knock Curtis Blades the fuck out. Curtis Blades just might be my least favorite fighter to watch in the UFC. He does have some good ground and pound when he chooses to use it, like when he beat the ever-loving fuck out of Alistair Overeem. Jesus Christ, my brain is fried. So he's got good ground and pound when he chooses to use it, but then if you look at his fight with like Alexander Volkov, where he takes it down and just lays on it, he does that more often than not. Derek Lewis does not have good wrestling. He came out and said, I'm going to wrestle Curtis Blades to the ground. No, he's not. he can knock anybody out, but will he in this instance? I think Curtis Blades is going to come out and he's going to shoot immediately. And Derek Lewis isn't going to have a chance to get the striking off. And Derek Lewis pretty historically does not have great cardio. So I think Curtis Blades is going to grind it out and either finish him late or get a decision. Because I don't think Lewis has great takedown defense. And Curtis Blades has fantastic takedown offense. So I just picture Curtis Blades taking him down, wearing him out, and then probably getting a TKO in like the 4th or 5th round because Lewis pretty historically doesn't have great cardio. But one thing that he always says after his fights is like, I'm not taking a fight till I lose 20 pounds. I want to be like 240. But then every fight he keeps weighing in 265. And I'm looking at his interviews from this week, and he doesn't look like he lost any weight. So he's still going to weigh in like 264. So stop accepting fights like you say, lose the weight like you want to. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a Derek Lewis at 240. More athletic, more lean. Probably won't lose any power. Maybe what, I don't know. Probably not, though. But the second part of that question was, what's the funniest thing he's ever posted or said or done? I like him calling out Ronda Rousey, saying like, you know, like he wants to eat her booty or something, and then after one of his fights, he said like, I can't wait to go home and eat my wife's ass or something like that. The video that you're talking about I've seen was very, very funny. But the funniest thing to me, maybe it's just because I have a recency bias, in his interview that he did with MMA Junkie this week. I forget what the question was. Something like, if you weren't fighting, what would you be doing? Something along those lines. And he said, I swear to God, he said he would make an OnlyFans page and sell foot pictures. That is hilarious. And he also said, you know, somebody asked him, you know, after this fight, what are you looking next? Title shot? What do you want? He goes, well, I got this one motherfucker who keeps calling me out in every interview, and I'm going to beat that motherfucker's ass. Conor McGregor keeps calling me out. I want him next. And I know I just talked about how it's annoying when people call out Conor McGregor, but they really want to fight Conor McGregor because they're in his weight class. Derek Lewis legitimately weighs twice as much as Conor McGregor. So him calling him out is funny. But that's all I got. Again, go to the YouTube channel. I will post the video whenever I edit it. The audio should be out tonight on Thanksgiving. But I will post the video hopefully within the next couple days. I got to edit it and whatnot. YouTube channel, 44T-Cross is my YouTube channel. There are some old videos of me rapping because I tried to be a rapper in college. So go check those out and be on the lookout because I got some funny skits, some funny things that at least I think are funny that I'm going to be videotaping over the next number of weeks. And I'm going to try and start pumping out some YouTube content because I want to make millions of dollars for being an idiot on the internet. And we like to make morons famous, so let's make this moron famous. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.